Hey everyone, welcome to the first 2020 Marketing for Nurses podcast. I'm here with Portia Wofford, your resident nurse, marketer, writer, expert. How are you, Portia?
I'm doing good. Happy 2020, guys.
Happy 2020, Portia. I'm super excited for today's episode. We were just kind of like rapping for the last 15, 20 minutes on a couple of really fun initiatives that we're not ready to talk about yet. But the one that we're talking about and the marketing tool we're talking about is my favorite, your favorite. And today we're talking about Facebook pages and Facebook groups. Portia, why do you love it? Why do you love that?
I love it because you get to network, and I built my business off of Facebook groups, off of networking in Facebook groups. I built my writing business off the connections that I made in Facebook groups, and I just love it.
It is very similarly. We have not properly leveraged Facebook groups yet, but Facebook pages for us has been game changing. We started a year and a half ago with 800, followers, and we're at 7,000, over 7,000. And growing that on Facebook is pretty challenging.
Yeah.
So when you say you kind of sustained your writing business from your Facebook group, your Facebook page, for the nurse practitioner listening in today, what do you post? What do you do on these groups to help you get business? Walk us through the funnel.
So when you go into the Facebook groups, the first thing to know in Facebook groups, the first thing you do is you read the rules. Most of all of the Facebook groups that you're in have rules. Now, Facebook has generic rules that every group can have. So every group on Facebook can have the same, I think it's 5 or 6 rules. So like no bullying, no spamming, things like that. But most groups have their own rules. So you read the rules. Most of the rules will say you can't solicit business in the group. You can't post links in the group. Because, these are these people's group. They built this community. They don't want you coming in, taking over their group, getting this from the group unless they're getting a piece of the pie. So if you have a Facebook group, and that's a good way to make money, is people want to come into your group and they want to solicit business, say, hey, I'm charging you $50, or you can join my VIP club where you can only post in my Facebook group if you're my VIP club, but they're paying you money. So that's a little side note for you guys to have Facebook groups. If you want to make some extra money, you can do that. But when you go into Facebook groups, the thing is to add value. When I started in Facebook groups, at first I was like everybody else. I call it a group surfer. I was just in groups, looking at what everyone was talking about, getting all the free information that I could get from the groups. I wasn't really, commenting on anything. I wasn't engaging in the group. I wasn't getting anything from those groups because all I was doing was sitting behind the scenes. But once I kind of got courage and got the confidence, and once I started to learn things on my own, and I have a voice now, I know what they're talking about, I started posting in the group. So you post things in a group, not to solicit business, not to get business, but you're just being valuable. So I'm a writer. So I might post something in the group and say, okay, guys, today I'm going to teach you guys how to create a good blog post. I'm going to walk you through the steps. And then I post, and that's it. And then people comment on my post and they say, oh my gosh, I like this. I've always wanted to be a writer. Can I message you, or can you give me a link? And so what I would say is, well, this group doesn't allow me to post a link, but you can feel free to send me a message on Facebook. They send you a message, and then in the message, you can start, getting to know the person a little bit better and building a relationship. And then eventually that person might be a client. If they're not a client, they might be a business partner. Actually, Kayla, who's my business partner for the nurse consulting business that I have, we met in a Facebook group. Never saw each other in person. We met in a Facebook group. We found out we had a lot in common. We formed a whole business, and now we're getting ready to launch a course that's been approved by the American Holistic Nurses Association. So we met actually in a Facebook group because we had a lot in common. So that person might not be your client. They might be a business partner. They might be a mentor. Lolita is my mentor. I met her in a Facebook group.
Wow. So you've met, it sounds like, arguably some of the top business relationships you have, right? Someone you're taking the course with, so that's a revenue stream, and then it's a great marketing tool as well, and then now a mentor.
Yep. I met Lolita in a Facebook group, and she actually was in another Facebook group. She posted like a free downloadable that she had, and she had her own Facebook group. I was the first member in her Facebook group.
Awesome.
And we built a relationship because I was always adding value. I was always posting, because that group was for nurses who want to be entrepreneurs. Basically, a lot of those nurses were startups. They didn't even know where to start. So I would always post links to how you can start your business, links for businesses that nurses could start. And then I would message her and say, hey, is there anything that I can do for you to help your group grow? And we built a relationship like that. And then one day I just got the courage to say, hey, this woman, I want this woman to mentor me because she's a nurse. She has, I think, 3 or 4 businesses. She hasn't worked with anyone. She hasn't worked for anyone but herself in the past 3 or 4 years. So
Wow.
she's where I want to be. So I just messaged her one day. I said, hey, I really love what you're doing. I think you're great. I could really use a mentor. Would you consider mentoring me? And she said, yeah. And we built a mentee mentor relationship from that. So I love Facebook groups. The point is just to go in there and be engaging and add value. Don't go into the group, always, you can ask questions, but don't let that be the only reason why you go into the group. If you see a link, someone sends you a link in the email, say, hey, they'll probably like this in this group, post it in the group. And once you start posting a lot in the group, people will start to know you in the group. Almost all the nurses that I interview for the nursing platforms that I write for, I met them in Facebook groups. And so I've kind of built a reputation of being a good interviewer because I have all these exciting new nurses who are doing all these exciting things, but I literally met them in Facebook groups.
Wow. So you said something so important in the beginning. It's you went from being a Facebook group surfer and being a contributor. How, and you said you built the confidence, but how did you develop the confidence to switch from surfer to contributor? And what was the moment you realized hey, I do have a voice that's valuable and I'm not scared to put myself out there?
What it was that people would ask questions that maybe I had asked in the past, and maybe no one would answer that question for them. So I would think, well, I already know the answer to this. I'll just pop this answer in their comment. And that's what I did. People would ask questions. If I knew the answers, I would just pop it in there. And then, in Facebook groups, once you comment on a post or like a post, it moves it up in the group. So it might have been something that was from 2010, and I answered it, and then it moved it up to the top of the group. And so people could see that, and then other people would start engaging, and people would say, okay, I like her, send me a friend request, or, things like that. And then eventually it got to the point where, hey, I have something that I want to say. I want to share value in this group. I want to be seen as an expert. And that's when I started posting in the group as opposed to just looking or answering other people's questions.
Got it. Okay. So it was very much you took your time, right? You didn't rush it. You didn't try to fake it. It was you were answering questions that you had already asked. So then that way you were just kind of giving the answer you received, which put you in position of an expert.
Right. Exactly.
Very cool. So that's a lot about Facebook groups. Now, one of the things as a marketer that I loathe, but I also respect a lot from Facebook, is that you can't send ads to those in Facebook groups, right? You cannot target people in Facebook groups. But there's a totally different strategy to Facebook pages. So tell me, on Facebook pages, if you had to choose between a Facebook page and an Instagram profile or a business account, which one would you pick? And I know it's a hard one.
That's a hard question because I love Instagram, but I'm going to go with Facebook. And the reason I say Facebook for me is because most of my clients are on Facebook.
Yeah.
Most of my clients, now if your clients are millennials, people like me, or, they might be on Instagram, but most of my clients, because most of my clients are, I have a business to business type of business service. So most of them are on Facebook still because they're not the millennials per se. They might be baby boomers or Generation X. So they're still, pedaling around on Facebook a little bit. So I like the Facebook pages. And another reason I like the Facebook pages is because for me, I'm a storyteller, I guess because I'm a writer by nature. I love to tell stories. I love to write long posts. I like to do long ads. And for me, Facebook is just more conducive for that than Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say the same thing. There's something about, I also think nurses historically, or I don't know what it is, but nurses seem to still spend a ton of time on Facebook. I'm still one of those people, look, I'm a hardcore millennial. I would fall right in the age bracket. But I still prefer Facebook over Instagram. And I think it's just because I'm so accustomed and so used to it And it's not that I'm like it's not like I'm someone that's technology adverse or I don't like trying new technologies. Like I spend some time on TikTok, but the reality is like there's something very calming and trusting about Facebook that I don't always feel like I have with Instagram.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like for my Instagram, I've kind of made it my personal branding, kind
Mhm.
of brands me as a nurse who happens to be a writer. But on Facebook, it's all about, me being a writer. I don't have to, actually, on my Facebook page, I don't even really post pictures of myself. I just talk about my writing business. Whereas Instagram, I have to post every now and then. I have to put a selfie up and, let people know who I am. So I love Facebook, I think. And plus, like I said, my clients are usually on Facebook as opposed to Instagram.
100%, 100%. And guys, at the end of the day, like, look, we're talking a lot about Facebook. It just depends on where your clients are. If you're going after larger businesses, then you're a nurse. You love doing content, digital content, videos about nursing that pharmaceutical companies can work on. Maybe your platform's LinkedIn. It just depends on who your target audience is. With Facebook, let's spend a few minutes getting tactical on our pages. What are some things we want to incorporate on a Facebook page that will help you stand out now that everyone has a Facebook page?
On your Facebook pages, again, don't make it all about you. It's actually I did a post on this. When you're doing anything that you're doing, it's not about you. Your clients, of course, they want to know that you know what you're talking about, but they want to know what you or your product or service can do for them. They don't care about, all these wonderful things that you've done. It's not about you. It's about your clients and what you can do for them or what your product or service can do for them. That's a good one. Another thing on Facebook that I love that you can't do on Instagram, in a Facebook post, you can actually put a clickable link. Whereas on Instagram, they have to go to the link in your profile to go to wherever you're trying to send them to. The only thing, because I hate this because it does not look really pretty, is when you put your links on Facebook and your link preview pops up, take out the link that you've actually written in your post because your link preview should still be up. I hate to read a post and then all that
Yeah,
stuff.
it's like long link,
Yeah.
14 lines, and you're just like, what is this? Okay.
So guys, just take that out of your post. I know a lot of people might not know that, but take it out of your post. Once you put your link in and you hit the enter button, you go down, your preview will pop up, go back out and erase that long post. It's just not attractive at all. It's just a pet peeve of mine. And I'm sure if it's a pet peeve of mine, some of your clients are like, I don't like that. It doesn't look pretty. Just take it out. Another thing with Facebook, make sure you have your pixels, added onto your Facebook. So whoever is doing your marketing or your social media management, Krish and I talked about this on our first episode. Go back and read our first blog so you guys can get the pixels. So we're not going to go into that, but you have to read the first blog to do it. That's what you call a call to action, guys. So you add those on your Facebook pages or your Facebook posts, and your pixels are set up. And your insights. So if you're not running your social media, your Facebook pages, whoever's running it, they can do your insights to get your demographics. So who's looking at your post, where they're at, what time they're looking at your post, so that you can, post at the time that those people are online.
100%, 100%. I think what you said is that call to action is so important on every post. Have a call to action. The call to action doesn't have to be like, buy from me, do business. Remember, you want to always add value. The call to action, hey, finish up this blog post here. 4 more blog posts. Sign up for, weekly emails. Click on this link. That call to action is critical because people, when they read your engaging content, they want to do something. So that's point number one. And I would say one of the things that, still works to this day is going live.
Ooh,
Doing
yeah.
live on your own, or doing this podcast, going live on a podcast, recording it, repurposing it. That content's so engaging because at the end of the day, like if you have fans, people that enjoy your brand, they want to see more content from you. Now, I'm guilty of this too. I sometimes don't do enough content. I sometimes also group surf, really good line. I've never really heard it before, Portia. But overcoming that barrier and going live with a good camera is really important. Shout out to Victoria Randall for calling me out about using some bad laptop camera. So I got myself a decent one this time around. But that stuff matters because you have a second to get their engagement. And if they're scrolling quickly on Facebook, which they probably are, or they're in a group and they're in their community, make sure that your content looks attractive.
Right. I agree.
All right, Portia, we'll go ahead and wrap up. Do you want to leave them with any last tips or tricks that you use for Facebook?
So if you're a coach or consultant, or you have some type of business where you have like a membership platform or anything like that, I think you should start a private Facebook community that is only for your paid clients. It's like a bonus. I'm pretty sure you guys have been taking courses, and they say, and you get a year access to our private Facebook community. And what that does is that people that are in your group, in your Facebook community, they can come in and bounce ideas off each other. I love that. I'm actually in a copywriters Facebook group, and I learn something every day about copywriting. So if you do that, you can't engage, but the people in your group are going to do the engagement for you, and then your group is going to be valuable.
That is a really great idea. That's an amazing idea. We definitely need to implement that ASAP. Like, wow, thank you, Portia. That's fantastic. My tip or trick would be, don't be afraid. Like, organic reach is dropping on almost every platform. It's natural. If you have a good piece of content, generally your Facebook page will tell you if it's engaging well. And if it's engaging well, it'll say something like, oh, this post is getting more engagement than 85% of your other posts. When that's the case, don't be afraid to throw $5, $10, $20 towards your ad spend and boost it. Boost it to your friends who follow the group, and your friends, like, it's friends of friends that follow the page, excuse me. That's like the type of demo that you can boost to. And I love doing that because it tells me that, hey, this is engaging content for my community. So it's natural to think that the people in my community, their friends, would also find this engaging.
Right. Very true. Very true.
100%. All right, Portia, thank you so much for this first episode in 2020.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon. Everyone listening in, make sure to do 3 things. 1, you got to check out the blog post. All right, we go into very tactical advice on the blog post. It is well written, easy to read, and just super engaging. And 2, make sure you follow us on social media. So that way you can stay in tune every time we're doing these posts.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. See you guys in a couple weeks.